And I know what some of you are saying and thinking. You're saying and thinking this was just retaliation. They killed a civilian contractor with a rocket strike.
Right.
They injured an American serviceman. They injured coalition personnel.
Yes.
We were justified in our retaliation. And you
Yes.
know what?
Yeah.
There is actually debate in the legal community as to whether or not that airstrike was a violation of international law. Because
he says that there might be justification for it. Susie, this is a leftist channel saying that there might have. This is actually the best take we've seen so far. He's admitting that there might actually be justification for
He's
it.
very skeptical about it.
That's pretty good. Oh, I just spit.
Is that's determined by a wide number of factors: the likelihood of retaliation, the degree to which the retaliatory strike was a proportionate response. There's a lot that goes into that. I read up on some of it before stream. I was expecting a hard yes or no answer, but I can't give it to you. There's discourse, but I'm not.
My God, this is okay. I'm not. Whew, this is so far the best new. I'm impressed. I have not seen it take this skeptical and nuanced on any left-leaning or right-leaning channel so far.
I'm not interested here in legality. The law allows great leeway for injustice. And you know what? Let's say, I'll even take the military-industrial complex aside on this. Let's for the sake of argument, okay?
Wow.
Let's say it was a justified retaliation. Let's say it was a completely legitimate. They killed only militants. They attacked an arms depot. I mean, they didn't kill any kids, as far as we know.
Unlike what Paul Joseph Watson would tell you.
How does that work? Does that make it good? Does that make it bad? I'll tell you this much.
Come on. So far, so good.
We're perpetuating the problem.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But can you isolate this event for a second?
Forever. Maybe. This is an on.
Wait, what is this guy saying in the live chat? Look at this. Have you read about how Iranian revolution happened? Oh my God, of course
It used to be relatively democratic and progressive country, but then we cooed them for oil, which effed them over, and then
oh my God. Yes, everybody now knows this. Like how? Okay, yeah, Vaush doesn't know that. Of course.
Was I born yesterday?
It's been going on for decades, but we're in their part of the world.
Hey guys, before we get back to that video, YouTube has fully demonetized our channel for supposedly hateful and harmful conduct, without telling us what we did wrong. If we get to 1,000 patrons, we will be able to keep paying all our team, our editors, our artists without ever having to worry about monetization again, which would be amazing. Yay! So please support Atheist Republic on Patreon. Link in the description below.
Sure, you can send a retaliatory missile strike. Maybe you only kill militants. Maybe you only kill evil.
Proximity doesn't really, I know in the world today, does it really matter how close you are? Are you, if for example...
Of course, a globalist like you would say something like that.
Yes, I am a globalist, and I don't understand this, if somebody was committing genocide in North America and United States was getting involved, would that be more justified than if somebody was committing genocide in Iraq and United States gets involved just because that's closer? I don't know. I understand what the proximity of how does the proximity makes it an issue, right? I mean, even the United States is so far away, yeah, but you have your allies all over the place. And United States, oh my God, should I do a Godwin? I'm going to do a Godwin. Would you? Okay, I know it's a Godwin. Come at me. It's a Godwin. Okay. Wouldn't you be when Adolf was attacking? It was when Poland, and then he took over France, and then the United Kingdom wanted help. Shouldn't you be well, we're North America. That's Europe. That's your part of the world. I don't understand. Again, I know this is not comparable. I'm just trying to like isolate what is being said here, and I know this is a very extreme example, but I just wanted to make the point about why. I mean, I'm not saying that it's justified to intervene all the time, but I don't understand how this proximity to the events makes a difference.
Full men, wonderful, but they'll bomb you again. They'll find another rocket. They'll find a way. They'll find an IED. They'll find a way to kill more American servicemen. They'll kill more civilian contractors. And then what are you going to do?
Respond every time. Because they respond every time. Every time they attack your citizens, you respond. That's what you do. That's you're a government. You have Americans, even if you pull your troops out, you're going to have American citizens outside of U.S. borders all over the globe. You're going to have, even if you don't have troops, you have tourists. They're everywhere. There are many Americans that live outside of America. If they attack Americans, you know what you're going to do as the U.S. government? You respond every single time. Of course you do. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to protect Americans. Imagine if they attack Americans and you don't respond. What does that mean? That means Americans outside of the United States borders are just up for the taking? Are you just going to make Americans just be like sitting ducks everywhere around the planet? If you're like, what are you going to do? You're like, oh yeah, if you respond to this, well then you're going to attack again. What do you do next? If they attack again, you respond again.
Are you going to airstrike again? Are you going to create more widows? Are you going to create more fatherless children who are going to...
Yeah, yes, you are going to create more widows and fatherless children if the fathers of those children were Iranian militia who are killing civilians. Yes, it's really sad for the wife and for the child, okay? But guess what? That militia guy wasn't just killing other militia. That militia guy was killing civilians. So yes, it's very sad that you're creating orphans, but that militia guy, if you're an Iranian militia, if you're part of Ex-Shia or Kataib Hezbollah, you being taken out was not a loss for the world. It was a net positive. Is that controversial to say? Like, is that really, like, am I saying something that is like insensitive? To say, like, if you're part of like Ex-Shia and somebody takes you out?
I mean, given what some of these groups do to Sunni villagers, which no one really talks about, like, yeah.
And to grow up hating the United States? There is no solution to this.
Growing up to hate the United States? Okay, but what about the Iraqis and Iranians who are grateful? Okay, for example, like so I mean, I'm not saying this justifies it, but if you're using this line of reasoning, then the other side is true as well. Because you say like, oh, you're taking this and that, and now you have orphans that are hating America. Well, guess what, Vaush? When your government took out Qasem Soleimani, most Iranians were grateful. So that's the other side as well.
Children who are going to grow up hating the United States? There is no solution to this that involves retaliation. Retaliation is not the way we fix this problem.
This is not okay. This is not a fixing of the problem. This is not this is you just having to do the bare minimum that the government is supposed to do when they attack Americans. Okay, yes, this is a longer term problem that needs a lot better solutions. But while you have this problem, like this is like, okay, if somebody breaks into your house, okay, and they're about to go and attack your wife and children, okay, and you have a gun, right? You could reach out for your gun and start going out and start shooting at the people that are attacking your wife and children, okay? And then after maybe you defend yourself and call the cops, maybe you could be like, okay, the longer term solution is to install better security around my house. Like, I'm going to put cameras, I'm going to install a fence, I'm going to like get doors that are not able to be broken like they were when the people broke into my house, okay? You could be like, this is a longer term solution. But You don't do that when somebody attacks your wife and children. You don't be like, when they're like going up the stairs and they're about to go like attack them, you're like, you know what? Me shooting them is not going to be a long-term solution. I'm just going to, while they're doing that, I'm just going to go online and look at better, like go look at better security for my house. Like, let me see what ADT has. Like, that's bad, but I need longer-term solution. When they're attacking your citizens, look for longer-term solutions. But when they attack your citizens, you need to respond.
So to me, is this airstrike justified? I don't even care. To me, that's not even the real question here. The question is whether we have our eyes on the prize. The question is whether or not we're acknowledging the fact that whether or not this airstrike was justified is at best an auxiliary question. It is tangential. It is secondary. It is
okay, fine. Yes, it's secondary. But can you acknowledge that this was a okay? So he knows that this was a good response, but it's unpopular to say that this was a good response. So he's just saying it's like tangential and secondary, which is true. It is secondary. You need longer term solution. But right now, everybody is talking about whether this was a good strike or not, and everybody is like attacking Biden for it. Can you tell us whether or not this was a good strike? I mean, he technically said it, but I think he's like lowering the damage that he might get from his community by saying that this is like secondary. I mean, well, which is technically true.
Is to the side. Nothing that is happening in the Middle East is just. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people have died.
Can you? I would love it if you guys blame also the Iranian government and Turkey's role and other intervention, not just like, yes, it's a lot of things that are happening in Syria and Iraq and in Yemen and in Lebanon are extremely unjust, very unjust, okay? And yes, United States is responsible for a lot of these crimes, okay? But it would be nice, it would be so great if you could also acknowledge, I mean, these guys do acknowledge the role of Saudi Arabia, so thank you for that. But it would be so wonderful if once in a while you could also mention how destructive of an influence the intervention of Iran's government has been. And also Turkey to some extent, but mostly Iran's government.
In Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, it's a part of ISIS, which only came about because of us. Millions of people have died. What here is justice? Where is the justice?
The
justice is us pulling out.
Well, I mean, who's claiming that this response by Biden in response to attacking Americans was supposed to be bringing justice to all of them? This was a solution to fixing everything in the Middle East. Like, that's like, was that a claim by anybody? Like the Biden administration, like, oh yeah, they attacked Americans, and now we're going to retaliate because they attacked Americans, and this retaliation is going to bring peace in the Middle East, and we're going to be done. Yeah, this is going to be it. We're going to show the Iranian government that we're not going to let them attack our Americans, and they will never attack us again. And this is going to be it. You're welcome. Biden administration solved everything in the Middle East.
Here's what we do. It's not easy, but it's what we need to do.
I mean, I'm being very picky, I know, but I mean, his take is still better. Like, his take is pretty good on average, okay? I'm just being picky, okay? But overall, so far, so good.
Because if you don't do this, you will be committed for all time to an interminable back and forth of justified military aggression versus terrorist attack on U.S. forces. That will be the rest of American history right there. Forever. A constant back and forth. And every 6 months, Americans get to go, woo, we blew up another arms depot.
Okay, here's the thing. The back and forth will be there forever, and you're never going to stop that. It's about reducing it rather than eliminating it. Okay? It's about the level of going back and forth, not about as long as you have Americans outside of United States borders, this back and forth will be there to some extent. It's about reducing it, not eliminating it. So don't treat it as like a black and white thing.
And then the next 3 months are them attacking us, and we go back and forth, people die, nothing gets solved.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So, if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.